Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of GNN. Today is June 19th, 2024. And as always, we have another banner night on our hands here. But before we get into the details of our brand new mobile suit, let's go over some news. Alright folks, leading off with the news here, we have the PMU Material Enhancement Campaign ongoing. For those of you guys that are unaware of what the hell that is, simply we have, leading off, a special supply drop where it's one guaranteed mobile suit in the newest lineup. It's one pull, it does cost you tokens. Is it worth it? Probably not, but it's guaranteed to get you a mobile suit for the latest lineup, so this also includes potential dupes. I don't think it's worth it, but you got other tokens to burn, well, it's up to you. On top of that, more importantly though, we have the reinforced container recon team. Just to reiterate for those that are unaware, we're going to do this fairly quick. The recon team containers now are at 25%, plus a mobile suit discovery rate goes up to, let's say to what percentage, it might be on that shared percentage. So if you don't have quite the mobile suit hanger to boast about, well, this is one way to kind of fill that up. On top of that, we do have double the base rewards for XP, dueling points, and clan points. So get those rounds done, folks, because this is the time to kind of rake in those rewards. On top of that, lastly, this is on the tail end of the limited special missions. I believe we just wrapped up the third round for the GM2 Striker for 450. We are now on to the last round, being the Nemo. This would be, I believe, for the 500 cost, if I'm not mistaken. I know the comments in the when this video drops will correct me, I hope, but I'm pretty sure it's for the 500 cost, so really cool stuff. But jumping into our main event that I know everybody's been waiting for to find out, we have the Zeta Gundam 3B Shin Matsunaga's own unit from Gundam Evolve 9. But before we get into the details of that, we have a limited supply drop reissue for 3 suits for the Unicorn, Gundam Banshee, and Kshatriya, all 3 of them being at 700. This could be worthwhile. If you do 10 pulls, you do get the modification kit, 4-star modification kit, for a total of 50 of those, which would help unlock stuff. Again, kind of debatable if you don't already have it, but it might be something that might be worthwhile for some of you guys just jumping into the game. So just something to kind of keep in mind, but you don't have to do that one. There are some changes with the dueling point exchange counter as follows. We have the level 1 Jesta coming out as a native 600 if you're not familiar with the suit. Really cool, decent suit to kind of play with. It does kind of get a little overshadowed by everything else at 600 now, but I would say it's still pretty decent in the right hands. We also have 2 supports being added, namely the GM Sniper 3 mid-range support, level 2. I think this is a 400 cost suit, or 450 at this point. Either way, pretty decent. It is on the fragile side, but it does have a lot of stuff to play with and some lovely range to go along with it. And of course, the cool High-Zek Cannon, level 1 from Advanced Zeta. Well, actually, both of these 2 supports are from Advanced Zeta. Really solid suits. I know people can vouch for those in the right hands. Definitely jump on that if you don't have this already. Going into the situation battle, since we are now getting one every week, we have an original situation battle not tied into any specific Universal Century event. So we do have a mixture of suits being added. We have, for the Federation side, it seems, the GBO2 Aqua, the Aqua Dominance Zaku Diver, Gundam Marine type, Gun Cannon Aqua from Thunderbolt, and the Aqua GM, ranging from 300 cost all the way up to 550, representing the Federation. And then for the Zeon side, you have the Cap Pool, the AG, the Zaku Marine type, the Joagu, everybody's favorite, the Zogok, the High Gog, rounding out the Zeon side. Again, same cost range, although there is a lot more leanings of 400 on the Federation side, but we'll see. It all depends on who's behind it, but by participating in this, they are reissuing the optimized underwater ordnance as the first week reward. So I can see a lot of you guys doing this. If you don't have this part already, it does eliminate, well, they used to have the movement penalty, not so much anymore, but it does make things a lot quicker. It makes things that didn't used to be scary a lot more scarier now. So I would definitely say if you want to collect that and add that to your collection of parts to kind of play around with, definitely jump into that. Now onto our main event suit. As I fight with the website here, I apologize. We have the Zeta Gundam 3B. This is a 3-star support unit at 650 ground and space usage. Now, of course, if you're not familiar with Gundam Evolve 9, the lovely CGI media that they had in the early 2000s, this is a suit that was supposedly piloted by Shin Matsunaga, an ace of the 1 Year War on the Zeon side of things. They do mention the Grey Wolf, but it's heavily implied that it's supposed to be Shin Matsunaga. If you're familiar with the little video, and this is based on 3 different Zeta variants, the 3A being Amuro's specific type. It does have a large beam cannon comparable to the Hyper Mega Launcher and an internal Mega Gatling. So it's supposed to technically have some other weapons as well, but because of the limitations of Gundam Battle Operation 2, it doesn't necessarily have all the other gimmicks and everything, but you know, it's okay. It seems like it's decent, it looks like it's fun. It does come with anti-beam coating level 3, so what that means is, based on this description alone, it has a lot of the same properties as the Delta Gundam and some of the other anti-beam weaponry aspects, or properties rather, where it doesn't take any type of reactions or as much damage until half health. But in this case, because it's at level 3, the beam resistance compensation is not reduced even when the skill effect is disabled at level 3. So it retains whatever beam resistances that it's set with. And we'll get into the stats shortly, but if you are doing 10 pulls, they are reissuing the second Anaheim normal suit, which is pretty cool. I think they had this coming out when the GP00 Blossom came out. So if you missed your chance to kind of get the full complete suit, maybe you just got the helmet on a bad pull, or you just the bottom half of the suit, this is your chance to complete the set. So on to the nitty-gritty. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with our Gundam 3B, or Zeta Gundam 3B to be exact. Of course, going down the line, we do have its special beam cannon. This is ammo based, so base power of 2600, 8 shots with an effective range of 450 meters, 5.5 seconds cooldown time between shots, 22-second reload time, and a 5-second charge shot, or charge time, excuse me. So, as expressed, it is a point-to-fire suppression. Focus fire does consume all rounds, which I believe they may correct in the future, because in testing it only consumes 5 rounds. But it is a long stun. It doesn't seem to penetrate or pierce, although with piercing weapons or whatnot, they do kind of deviate a little bit, but this was done in practice. So I don't know, we may see some different things going on, who knows, but that's what it describes right now. I'm not going to say that it's inaccurate and accurate, but I can say that it doesn't work as intended necessarily. Now, like the 3A, this does utilize the same beam saber, which is now also available at 700 for the 3A. So base power of 2400, 2.5 seconds swings. Assuming as this being a support, it only has 1 swing. And priority 1, so you guys can add the math there. Going into the sub-weapon category, we have the grenade launcher arm units, or arm-mounted grenade launchers, however you want to word it. Base power of 500, 4 shots at an effective range of 300, 10-second reload time. I believe this is very much the same as what we have on the Amuro unit there, so there shouldn't be any difference in that regard. So pretty standard. It does have some decent build stun. It doesn't break MA1 with all shots, but it does kind of help contribute to the building of that. And I believe going into the almost said funnels, Vulcans there, we do have some similarities, 160, 175, so I believe there is some difference. Wow. Okay, so 160, 200. So we do have some differences there right off the bat. Same amount of power and ammo, but the reload time and effective range are different. So the Vulcans recover faster on the 3B versus the 3A, and has a little bit more range. Although, can you actually feel the difference of 25 meters in game or GBO2? Probably not. But it can help in those crucial fights. But I would say pretty standard. I think it stuns fairly decently well, but the nice thing about it is, since this is a range suit or midlining suit, that the firepower, when you do pair it with the advantage type, is going to be really, really nice. Now, of course, we got the little showstopper here. Kind of the other pairing to its main rifle there, you have the Mega Gatling for the 3B. Now this fires, I believe, in 7-shot intervals if you hold it down, and then it kind of stops for whatever reason. I'm not sure if that's intended, but the nice thing about it is it kind of tells you to, hey, you're gonna overheat it if we get away with another full burst of this weapon. So 300 base power, 7% heat rate per shot, effective range of 250, which makes this kind of like a side machine gun anyways, which is really nice, but the overheat is 20 seconds, so it's like the primary weapon there. It does kind of penalize you if you are kind of careless with the weapons there. Seems pretty neat though, from what I've seen so far. It is a functional shield though, even though it's kind of a small hitbox. It does come with a decent HP of 3,500. Not a whole lot to play with, but it's better than 0. Anything is better than 0. Going into the resistances, because I kind of skipped out of order there, it does have a decent amount of melee resistance, which is kind of weird for a support, really. I expect it to kind of have a little more on the ballistic and beam side normally, but when you do incorporate the anti-beam coating level 3, it kind of makes sense for them to balance out the beam resistance down to as low where it is. So 24, 25 respectively for melee and ballistic, and then 18s on beam resistance. So it does kind of make you think about, okay, once I lose my skill, what are we gonna add? Of course, as kind of similar, in a similar notion to the 3A, this is a little more range oriented, so the leanings is on range, but it does have a little bit of a swing bite if you're fighting against generals, given the opportunity. So don't dismiss your ability to downswing in this regard, because it definitely could hurt quite a bit. Movement wise, your base power walking speed is 125 with a high speed move of 195, which is kind of on the slower side. There are some supports that do kind of hover at 200. Thruster gauge is decent at 75 with a turning speed of 66. When compared to the 3A, it's not that much slower turning, and I think even thruster gauge wise, yeah, the 3A has a little bit more on it, but you know, different specs, different roles, but that all changes because it's also able to transform as well. So 185 cruising with a 240 boost. Of course, the turning speed does diminish quite a bit too when it's in that mode, so use sparingly. Because we're gonna get into the shopping list of skills, because let's see, pretty much some of the usual stuff that you'd expect out of a support. Radar, scoping, generally pretty high, has observational data link. I can imagine this not having that, but you know, gotta spell it out for stuff. This also can snipe in that and still retain the minimap, so that's pretty nice. Aerospace gimbal, has flight, as we saw when the transforming. This has flight control 2. So this is really nice, which ties into the aerial melee that I spy below there. This also has gliding. Balancers is always a plus for supports. I love it because that allows you to pull off some maneuvers that you would normally get away with as a general. that a lot of sports don't really have. This is definitely one of them. It has Ambok level 2, so it helps in space. Force Injector 1, which granted is not as efficient with boost, but being able to kind of adjust your trajectory and turn and all that fun jazz is really nice. Aerial Melee, paired up with that flight control, definitely picks this kind of like a related to the Ankh shot, because you can actually pull some aerial maneuvers with your melee out as you're falling or if you're in the air. It's really kind of crazy. So it allows you to get pretty creative, I guess. But there's our lovely showstopper there as well, the anti-beam coating. So as we mentioned in the news portion, it works very much like the Delta Gundam, and even when your HP falls below 50%, you still retain your beam resistance. So unlike the Delta Gundam, where it just falls flat to 0, you still have some fight left. So that's pretty nice. You do have buffers on your wings there, so any damage taken from your wings is reduced by 30. I don't think it really addresses the backpack directly, but it might be just the wings, so it's hard to say. You also have Biosensor. This isn't Guyver, guys. You know, activating at 30%, so you get that attack boost, defense, and mobility boost, and pretty much the same thing. So pretty neat so far. I won't say I'm overly excited, but I do feel like what they have on the table for this, certainly you can't give it any type of leeway, especially in the hands of somebody that's very familiar with GBO2 and has probably put a lot of hours into it. It definitely is, I would say, for a 3-star, it's gonna bite. But we'll see if it's good enough to kind of hang with the rest of the big boys at 650, because I believe, if I'm not sure, that is the next cost range for the next clan match. So alright folks, that concludes tonight's recap of the new 3B Zeta Gundam that just came out and dropped for all you cool folks in Gundam Battle Operation 2 console-wise. Let me know what you guys think about this new 650 3-star support. If it's worthwhile pulling, if you guys are kind of eager to see what it can do in the field of battle, if it's something that's mid. I don't know, I want to know what you guys think about it, and if you are eager to kind of test the limits of that new suit. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed and found this informative, please don't hesitate to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel immensely. What does help also is me seeing what you guys think about this and where we go from there. But as I said, that concludes for now. I will see you guys all in the next video. Take care.